Hello and welcome to this video. Today we're heading down to Bohuslän to do some trad climbing, something that I am not well accustomed to and is probably the scariest discipline in my book. Before we get into the action, I kind of want to explain why I decided to venture down there and to try this route. So first off, there's 3 disciplines in climbing that I kind of want to work with. One is bouldering. Short and intense, safe to fall, quite comfortable, bring out your pads, have some fun. Sport climbing, still safe to fall, you just kind of go, it's quite endurance based and you just have to, train a lot to be good at it. And then third, trad climbing. The one that kind of messes with your mind, you have to place your own gear, which is incredibly scary because if you do it incorrectly, you fall to the ground and die. So you have to learn how to do it properly, which I have not to this date. However, I want to learn and I want to evolve and understand how these different disciplines work. I started at the age of 16. At the time, before that, I was very unathletic and basically just a gamer kid, you know, like doing all the gamer's kid stuff that you do. And suddenly I kind of found climbing and it became a great passion right off the bat, and I switched the obsession that I had with gaming to climbing. With this, I also brought the attributes that I took from being a gamer kid, meaning that you care a lot about progression and you want to become better and you want to just learn to crush things that you haven't been able to crush before. Because of that, I started doing a lot of research quite early on to what I thought was like the goal, like the best. So my starting point was, of course, to go to the gym. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this. I saw some people, they were climbing V5s, or like one person was climbing V5, the other one maybe at V3. And I was like, that's the best in the world. How is it possible to hang upside down like that and do all of those things? That is insane. And then you walk around the corner and there's somebody on a V9 and your mind just explodes. It's like, how that is not physically possible. Like something is bugged with the matrix. And then you go home and you start Googling and you see just a picture of Abrahamsson and it says like, this is peak performance in climbing. Suddenly you realize, okay, there's an entire world to explore. You don't know anything until you're actually deep into it. And so I decided to dig deep into it by basically Googling everything I could find on climbing. And my conclusion at the time was that 8B plus bouldering was around there, was world-class level. Like that's where a lot of the World Cup athletes were hitting, and some people were pushing towards 8C. There's been like one 8C plus at the time that's been done. But basically 8B plus was world-class. 9A sport climbing routes was kind of monumental. When somebody did a new their first 9A, it was like this big thing. It was amazing, again, world class. And trad climbing was a bit harder to find the information on, but I came to the conclusion that 8A trad was like the goal, kind of like that was really hard, really scary, but still manageable. People could do it, but they had to give a lot of effort for it. And so when I was that age, I set out that this is my goal. Like this I want to do one day. I want to do 8A trad, I want to do a 9A route, and I want to do an 8B plus boulder. Like that's gonna happen. At the time I was climbing 4 plus, so I had no idea what that actually entailed, but that was my Googling skills came to those conclusions. And this brings me to the point of this video, because I want to achieve those goals that 16-year-old me set out. I've never really tried to do an entire 9A route. I tried underground, as some of you know, and injured my knee on it, but I never really got to the point where I knew like, okay, I'm this close to doing it or not. I want to do a lot of research the coming months and try and understand like, what does it take to do that level? And I want to do the same for trad. And this video is going to be the starting point of it all. But before we can get into the action of my first trad experience, I kind of want to push for my Patreon that I started up a little while ago. So the thing is, like, filming these episodes, especially on rope and stuff like that, requires some people, some friends, and a lot of commitment. And I kind of want to pay those people what I can, like an actual salary. So Cordy is of course helping me a lot, and I want to give her some sort of salary for what she's doing for me. That's what I want to use the money on Patreon for. Like I want to have a little buffer that I can use for anybody helping me out with these bigger projects. And so if you want to support that, then the link is down below, and I would be incredibly happy to anyone who's willing to contribute. What it will help towards is this new series where I'm going to be adding a lot of training content onto YouTube and a lot of ideas that I've had in my mind. I'm going to go back in time and look what did it take for me to climb V11, because that was one of my first really big goals in climbing as well. And then I'm going to look forward and see what do I need to train to achieve these other new goals. And the Patreons will be basically the catalyst of that, the ones who make it happen. And so yeah, hop on there if you want to help the channel out. I would greatly appreciate it. But now let's get into the trad action.
is terrifying. I don't really know what a good... This is... Actually, this I might trust. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know how these things work. I'm trying to... It's terrifying. It's really cool.
The first part of the trad route goal was to try and figure out if it was actually manageable for me. Basically, this is because the terrain that you climb on is often more vertical, and of course it has a lot of cracks, so you can actually place the gear. And this also means you have to learn to crack climb and to manage yourself on those type of holds, which is an incredibly different experience that we're gonna dive into a little bit more soon. Anyway, I quickly did all the moves on the route, which I was very surprised to, but there was this one section that turned out to be completely impossible for me. So I sent Cordy up on the route, and she quickly figured out a way to make the moves work. And so we took out the camera and decided to start shooting the process of me working towards this 8A route.
This is the beta. Okay, yes! Där går skitbra. Okay. Maybe I was a bit too optimistic. No, fuck no. Fuck. Nope. I was out in Nimesil, up north, where they only like 9A in Sweden is. It's plus 9A anyways. And the moves on that one are easier than this. So this is 9A plus for me. It's gonna be so sketchy on trad.
So I spent a while on the route trying to figure out this last sequence, and it turns out that Cordelia's beta was just completely bonkers and would not work for me. I couldn't really find a way and kept on climbing until it got dark. At that time we didn't have any lights and it was time to call it quits. So I decided to just try the moves that comes after to make sure I have those dialed, and then it's just the sequence into that undercling that was left. But after I decided to take down the gear, I realized that there was one more beta that I hadn't really tried, and so off camera we did some more shenanigans.
So, after yesterday's session, in the dark we didn't shoot anymore, but I figured out the move in a pretty simple way, and parts of the start. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna try to do it in 2 parts right now. Basically, to the crimp, like the first section, and then from there to the top. So yeah, let's get going. It's getting dark, so gotta shape up. And we're off. Biting my nipple a bit. Maybe it was good to have a shirt on. This doesn't work.
You need more weight on it, or?
I think I need much more weight on it.
Yeah.
But that was good. I'm happy about that. I could have kept climbing. Might have figured it out. I just put a knot here. Maybe that'll be a counterweight so that I can pull the rope. But I mean, I made it past the cracks easily. That's the important part. And then I just need to like stabilize for the next move, and we should be fine. Let's give it a whirl.
Centipede, the witness witness the complexity of 100 legs that were moving unexpectedly, ironically, just as they were meant to be. They're fearfully and wonderfully made. An organism prays in circadian rhythms. Sun will rise and then the sun will set, and then the sun will rise again. So lift up your head. This is life.
That's good enough. This thing is stressing me out.
Yeah.
So slack. That's alright. Yeah, let's move you up and then do the top section. Get that done.
Learning to lust for the things you don't own, like an armchair warrior who's been dethroned, declared and fixed, fighting for your life with unattended split wrists. Don't let your name get intermingled with the number, cause it's time to awaken from the devilish slumber, to freely follow the forerunner to the fatherland and rally round the Renaissance man and the wisdom of his ways and all the work of his hands. Catch come as catch can, concentrating on the good words of the Son of Man. The plan is to withstand the demands of a confused oppressor, a wolf in sheep's clothes with monotonous lectures and questionable gestures, unequal measures, cultural pressures and synthetic textures, force-fed instead of the most beautiful architecture.
Adds an element to this.
Lost, forgotten origins, earth-seed fiber in the blood of my king, in that old rock where we confessed our sins. Oh my God, fellow man, in this great land, they all cry out for full restoration. And this'll take patience, and this'll take the tribes and the tongues of all the nations, and all of creation groans in anticipation, waiting for the Son of God to be manifest. I can feel it burning in my chest, the liberation for the oppressed. And it's beautiful like the feet that bring good news.
There we go.
It's beautiful like this freedom of tongue. Beautiful like the power to choose, to change. Beautiful like belong.
Let's get going for real. It's gonna be terrifying. That's all I can say. So, the trad journey has begun, and since I've never placed gear essentially in my entire life, aside from on like a 3+ several years ago, I'm just gonna basically try to see how these things work and to learn how to trust my life on them, which will be a process. And then I do think this is what people refer to as bomber, because it's very evenly loaded. So now I'm gonna trust my life in this, basically. Well, not really, because I won't die if I fall, but I'll fall into a bag of, or like some thorns and stuff. But we'll see. Okay. Let's not gonna go anywhere, so that's promising. Let's go do this on an 8A now.
It's time to have a look at the first time that I tried to climb a hard route on trad gear. So I was still a bit of a chicken and I was not really ready to place my own gear, so my coach and mentor in this discipline, Stefan Wolf, pre-placed the gear for me.
Oh, it's fucking warm now.
Not as very good.
This was still quite a terrifying experience for me, since I, to be honest, don't have a full trust in the gear placements just yet. A lot of trad climbers are quite, they just go, they do their own thing, and I'm not really at the same level as they are mentally. It's a bit of a process, and trying to climb the route on pre-placed gear was definitely the first step for me to try and do it on my own gear.
Hey! Woo! Woo! Fuck! Oh, so terrified. I was so fucking terrified.
Terrifyingly cool.
Fuck! Så det kan ta.
So this is where the first adventure ended, and I'm happy that I got to experience trad climbing, at least a little bit of it. I still, of course, have to place my own gear, which will be a new challenge, but it's a challenge that I'm really psyched for, and I'm happy to try it the next time I'm down there. And I'm very excited to try to place my own gear and see how that affects the experience. It was a lot of fun, that attempt, but of course that's going to be nerve-wracking, and yeah, I'm going to bring the camera in so you all can see that as well. I also want to mention that I do have the 9A route already planned out. It's called Coupe de Gras, and it's in Valbavona. I'm not sure when I'll be able to try it. Maybe that'll be next spring or so, but that's kind of the route that I'm going to have in mind when training. And lastly, just want to plug the Patreon again, just so you guys can kind of get an understanding of the movements of it. There's a little mini vlog up there that I recently posted from some adventures that we've had in the past couple of weeks, and a new podcast will be uploaded quite shortly. So yeah, check that out if you want to help support the channel, and otherwise I'll see you guys in the future. Peace out, homies.